Again, my name is Mayra, and my last name is Castrejon-Hernandez, and this is my name sign. This is my identity in the deaf community, and one of the reasons they gave it to me is because I smile so much. In order to earn a name sign, you have to be given it from a deaf community member. But I'm going to share my story. I was born in Guadalajara, Mexico. When I was 5 years old, I'm going to tell you that part. Understand, now I am the baby of 4 children. I have 2 older brothers who are hearing, and I'm closest to my sister who's just a little bit older than me, 4 years older than me. I lost my hearing. My sister put a pin in my ear, and I lost my hearing. Now, it's not her fault. My parents really didn't know sign language. And really, she didn't know what was right or wrong. She just wanted me to be like her. So she put the pin in my ear, and I became deaf. So at that point, we lived in Mexico, and the education there was not great. So my parents were working back and forth in America, and they realized there was great schooling for children who were deaf of hard of hearing. So we moved to Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I went to a mainstream school, which is a school with hearing and deaf kids. And I went to a deaf specialty program there. I had some deaf teachers, but I was just lately deafened, and I hadn't accepted my deaf identity. I had just moved. It's a very different place, and I saw so many different cultural things. You know, my people are brown and Mexican, and I came to Milwaukee, they speak English. They're not brown and Mexican. And I had to learn sign language because I couldn't hear. I refused to learn sign language. So my parents didn't know English, and so I had to pretty much learn this all by myself. How does this country work? It was frustrating. Eventually, I went to the hearing school. My parents sent my sister to this school, the Wisconsin School for the Deaf. They have a dorm. Kids stay there, they sleep there overnight, and everything is taught in sign language. So, it's about 45 minutes away from Milwaukee. It's in Delavan, so we would go there during the week and come back on the weekends. At first, I didn't like that school. I was used to eating good food at my house. I had tacos and tortillas, and every day after school, I'd go home and get this delicious food. But they gave me something that was called a sloppy Joe. Like sloppy Joe was in the name. It looked so gross. I didn't even know what to do with that. I was not used to this kind of food. They said, no, it's kind of like hamburger meat, but you just put it in a bun and you eat it. So, you know, the School for the Deaf, most of the people there are white. There's very few Latinos there. So I just started to learn sign language. I was pretty scared. I really was uncomfortable. And at that school, they don't use their voice. So I had to use my eyes as my place where I learned language. So it was frustrating and very new, but I started to pick up sign language eventually. I went to speech therapy at that school, and they were trying to help me change my accent because I had a Spanish accent, and they said, your accent is too Spanish. You need to speak English more like hearing people. Now, I didn't know that was right or wrong, but you know, I'm still a native Spanish speaker, and it was very confusing. However, I muddled through and graduated. I went to Milwaukee Area Technical College. Now, I had been linguistically deprived my whole life, so I was still learning and still trying to pick up. And I will never forget this teacher that had an impact on me at MATC. She was a math teacher. And I was so confused because I had an interpreter in the room, but remember, I was used to direct education from teachers who use sign language at the School for the Deaf. So I was like, okay, so I have to look at the interpreter instead of the teacher. But then I would have to look at the teacher because she was writing on the board. And then I would look back at the interpreter and I would miss what was going on. I was so lost. So the teacher was amazing, and she noticed me struggling. And afterwards, she said, hey, do you speak Spanish? And she was Latina herself. So she said, interpreter, hang on a second. I'm going to see if we can communicate together. And so she spoke Spanish to me, and I started to understand what she was saying. And I explained to her I was struggling because I would have to look at her and have to look at the interpreter and have to look at the board. It was very challenging. So she took the time to make that connection for me. And it really opened my eyes as to who I am and where I fit culturally. So I'm so grateful for her for being there. And I'm also grateful for my sister. Even though it was a challenge, I would not be where I was today. And I'm actually able to fit into so many different cultures because of that. So I can see people's perspectives, and I've walked a moment in their shoes. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you have a fantastic afternoon.